I can't tell a builder, this is how you're going to build this house, and this is what you're going to do. I have to watch. I hear some noise behind me, but I want to make it certain that I don't regulate how they want to design. Unless if it meets the code, it is fine by us. That the code is a minimum standard.
Okay. Well,
Any questions?
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
May I respond?
We're really out of time.
She has 5 minutes.
Okay. You can state your name for the record, please.
Amanda Carrera, 3913 River Road, Bridge City. I think there are a lot of regulations regarding new construction of a single-family residence. It's a minimum square feet per the size of the lot, maximum setbacks, the size of the fence, the height of the fence, what kind of a fence. There's no regulation that how you handle your runoff. It's up to however a homeowner and an inspector wants to decide. Everybody I talked to said they had no choice. They had to put in a chain wall. And we did pictures the best that we could. But it doesn't do justice. It doesn't truly reflect the slope, the extreme elevation from her property onto ours. Yeah, there's 15 feet between the houses. But there's no way a swale's going to work in that situation. I've had an engineer come look by, and they said, that's illegal. There's no way. How did that happen? I'm at a loss that she can't tell the builder how to build a house. That's what the code department does.
That's exactly what the code department does.
To protect other homeowners, not pick sides.
They said the homeowner can do whatever they want? Is that it now in Jefferson Parish?
I don't care if she wants to paint it pink with purple polka dots, put a fence all the way around it. I know she had a hearing for that yesterday. I don't mind. I think everybody should be able to put a fence around the whole property if they want to, especially in today's day and age. But that's structural deviation from the code, the way it is written online in the Muni Code. We looked it up. People were stopping by while they're building a house. Hey, y'all not worried about them not putting a chain wall? We're like, no, it's in the code. Jefferson Parish is certainly not going to let them build without it. We're not worried. Well, I guess we were naive because it's exactly what happened. I had no idea. Jefferson Parish, born and raised in Harahan, saved for 8 years after Katrina, came back, moved here. I just never thought on this level of local government that it would be against me. I mean, leave me alone. I don't need big government, but don't act against me. It's ridiculous. And I'm not satisfied with that response. Thank you.
Yep.
What was the time frame again for this, for action by the neighbor? The violation was issued, and then what happens?
Yes, I don't know whether or not they were provided an extension of time because they had engaged the services of another contractor besides their builder. I don't specifically know, but I want to say within the next 2 to 3 weeks they have to have completion of it. So again, if it doesn't drain properly, then it will be going to Bureau of Administrative Adjudication. And I want to make sure I correct myself, as I don't want to be mischaracterized or misphrased. We regulate building codes and building safety. If a contractor wants to put up a strange building, that is their prerogative. However, we make certain that it meets the building codes.
Oh, I was going to respond to that. I'm disappointed because, let me tell you why I'm disappointed. Y'all was supposed to be out there watching when they were building the property. When I was the mayor of the city of Harahan, I had a regulatory department, very small. But when they built new houses, we went out there and made sure if they built a house higher, as far as the property was, we made the people put chain walls up because it was a higher and it was caused problems. And I saw these pictures on this property. My first thought, before I even talked to you, and I told you when you came in, I thought they should have put a chain wall up. And I think they should have put a chain wall up from the beginning. But you said, no, we can work with a swale or drains. So, I mean, I agree with them. They got to be disgusted because we're supposed to protect them, protect their property. And if I'd have been out there, if I'd have been in charge of code, which I'm not, and I'm glad I'm not, I'm glad I'm not, believe me. But I'd have saw it and saw the way how high the property was, and I'd have told them they had to put a chain wall up. That's by the picture he sent me on the Facebook. I mean, on the email. I thought it should need a chain wall from the beginning. But I'm not the expert. You guys are the expert. But I think in the long run, they're going to have to put a chain wall up because they are higher. But if she wants to try using the drains or whatever she's doing, let her try.
I just want to let you know that I have, I think, a minimum of 3 certified building officials who have worked for the parish of Jefferson. Their combined experience is over 90 years in code enforcement. I implicitly trust that my people do their job and they do it well. This one was also inspected. I can pull everything from my permit now to show you every inspection that was done on this property if you so desire.
As I said, I'm not an expert, but just what I saw from the beginning. But you guys are the experts, so.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to speak?
When we found out that our new house didn't need flood insurance, we were happy. At our previous residence, we were flooded 5 times. Then along comes Jefferson Parish Code Department, and for some reason allows the house next to us to be built not following Code 8-3-111.1.1, and in doing so is allowing their runoff to flood our property. The house is 3 feet higher than our property, so there's a huge amount of runoff. The builder was originally refused a permit, then called parish president's office and received the permit the next day. Now I'm sure when they were discussing it whether or not they should do this, they decided that we were nobodies. When the nobodies first complained, they just sent out Gary Lay to tell the nobodies that it was their own fault because our property was lower than the new construction, and if we demanded the code be followed and a chain wall be built, that we would be cited for holding water. The nobodies decided to go higher up to John Piglia. The first thing he says is, we know there's a problem. He's the one who signs off on the house saying it meets Jeff Parish codes. He then also states if we demand a chain wall, we'll be cited for holding water. The nobody still didn't understand how Jeff Parish could allow one house to flood another, so decided to email everyone. Still no answers. The nobodies decided to go to a council meeting and plead their case in front of the heads of Jefferson Parish. After their nobodies had their turn at the podium, then they watched Amy Valor, head of the code department, first say she can't tell a builder how to build a house, then cite code number 8-3-111.1. The nobodies were thinking that the code number is missing 8.1, but the nobodies are thinking she's the head of the code department. Surely she would know the correct code to use, but apparently not. Everyone has been telling us she's a lawyer and we're not. Well, come to find out, everyone we've been complaining to has also been using the wrong code, including my representatives. Now, since the nobody still won't shut up about the flooding, let's sick the code department on them. Let's tell them unless they get rid of their grandson's Power Wheels, we're going to haul it off, charge them, and fine them. Let's tell him if he doesn't get rid of his legally registered scooter and motorbike, we're going to haul off and charge him and fine him. Let's tell him he can only have patio furniture under his carport and a 6-foot step ladder considered a public safety hazard and has to be removed. Let's cite him for a junk vehicle 12 blocks from his house. I'd like all of the elected people in front of me to raise your hand if you think this is acceptable behavior of Jeff Parish Code Departments, and tell me how far you're willing to let this go before you do anything about it. I will now read the correct code that is used all through Jefferson Parish, except on the house built next to the nobodies. Code number 8-3-111.1.1. Retaining walls. In case a lot or part thereof is higher than the adjoining lot, approved arrangements shall be made to prevent water from the higher lot flowing directly onto the adjoining lot. If the code official determines that the difference in lot elevation to be too great for a swale, a retaining wall on the rear and both side property lines shall be required. Then it goes on to give specific instructions
We have 1 minute, sir.
on how to build a wall. It does not say anywhere about subsurface drainage. 8-3-111.1.2, alternative to retaining walls, cites how you can build the house on piers. My councilman knows that Paul Johnson knows something's wrong. I'm asking him to open an investigation into the code department, same as Councilman Spears did in 2012 against the code department. The nobodies are being targeted by the code department, and I'm sure more intimidation is sure to follow. The nobodies are still demanding that the property at 3901 River Road be brought up to Parish Code 8-3-111.1.1. Not an international code, not a global code, but Jeff Parish Code.
We felt like we were being treated with disdain for having a concern. I've been home while they were re-inspecting problems at the new construction, and it's not the same treatment. I'm sorry, I'm very nervous. I'm not a public speaker. I'm just...
Take your time, ma'am.
When we left the Yenny building on the 29th, when we got in the car after seeing Mr. Segura and Mr. Piglia, I told my husband, I said, they're trying to shut us up. And I really feel, I've never journaled or anything before. I said, I need to go home right away and write down how I feel. Because it's like we were being made to feel responsible and just unreasonable for having a concern about it before we would even be able to express everything that we were feeling. In other words, we weren't being heard. And I felt like being told to just go away. And so I'm sure the code department, when they receive complaints, I know that they're required within 3 days to come out and investigate a claim. Most of the complaints against us have been unfounded. But it's, I mean, how long can that go on? I think we've had 18 complaints in the last month. It's not normal. I mean, it's just not. And I don't know, so thank you.
Before we go into the next subject,
Councilman Johnson.
I stated at the last meeting that Mr. Bonacari sent me the pictures, and he also emailed me, and I told Amy that I'm not an expert, but when I was the mayor of a city, I stood over the regulatory department. I had a good guy running the department. If anybody was higher than the neighbor and they added mud, they would have to build a chain wall so they don't flow water onto the neighbor's yard. When I saw Mr. Bonacari's pictures, my first thing was they need a chain wall. Now, I'm not an expert. I heard that last meeting when Amy said they had 90 years experience. I'm not questioning the ability or the expertise of the code enforcement. I'm not questioning that. But the pictures I saw, I agree with the Bonacaris. I think they need a chain wall. But it hasn't been done yet. I'm not sure what's going on with the communication with the Bonacaris. I haven't talked to Amy in the past week. I know Brian has talked with her over a few issues, but I'm not sure we've been issued on that. But we had other problems. I got two people here that are having issues right now. We're getting ready to hear. What's the 804 Linden? We're going to hear about that right now, and we're trying to address that too. But I don't know where we're going with this. Administration, Amy, I need to find out where we're going to get these people where they need to be. If they got to build a swale, or y'all feel they need to put in drainage in there, or what? But something, and then all of a sudden, they're coming here stating that they've been cited over a bunch of things, and they feel they're being picked on. I don't think you're picking on nobody. And I'm not accepting that they're saying that. I'm not saying you are, or your department is. I'm not saying that. But I'm just trying to find out where we're going with this with the chain wall? Are we going to make them put a chain wall up? Are we going to have them put a swale? Or where are we going with this? If you can explain it to me.
The property located at 3901 River Road, pardon me, was cited for improper lot grade. They went through BAA. They were given the option to put in subsurface drainage and a swale. Right now, they have completed that work, and it's still under. We are monitoring the situation to determine whether or not, if there are any more water issues, we'll handle it the other way.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
My name's Lee Bonacarrea. I live at 3913 River Road. Councilman Paul Johnson and Councilwoman at Large Cynthia Lee Shang, you two are supposed to be my representatives. Yet when the Yenny Building Code Department allows my neighbor to ignore Jefferson Parish codes and floods my property during every rain, you do nothing. Then when I keep complaining and the zoning department starts harassing me by attaching false complaints against my property, you do nothing. When the head of the building code department, Amy Velat, stands in front of you and appears not know what code to use on that property, you do nothing. When the code department repeatedly changes its positions on what code should be used on that property, you do nothing. When I ask you to open an investigation into both of the code departments because of many irregularities, you do nothing. When I tell you the correct code that was supposed to be used on that property, you do nothing. When I ask repeatedly for the name of the code official that signed off on that property using a ditch to drain water off of that property, you do nothing. I would also like to know why my neighbor, Trish LaCrosse, has the entire building and code department, along with both of my representatives, working so desperately on her behalf, and all the while flooding me in the process. After dealing with Jeff Parish employees, I think they would do absolutely anything, and I mean anything, to keep her from building a retaining wall like the rest of Jefferson Parish have to. At a savings of possibly $30,000, something is not right with that. It is a puzzle that hopefully I will find out the answer to. I was wondering if it had anything to do with the parish attorney, Mike Power, resigning. He resigned 2 days after I sent an email. I would like to know if anybody in this room could help me solve that puzzle. I won't hold my breath. Like I said, all of Jefferson Parish. This is another reason I have no representation. Both of you just parrot whatever the code department tells you without question, all the while you know they keep repeatedly changing their story. Yet that's not a red flag to you. The Yenny administration is out of control, but as long as the campaign contributions keep coming in, everything is A-OK with y'all. Just keep flapping your gums, but not doing anything for me, but of course, gladly screwing me on her behalf. Someone told me in the beginning, watch Johnson. He appears to help, but in reality, he doesn't. Sadly, that turned out to be very true. Both of you and all of your assistants and both of the code departments think y'all going to say things a certain way to get me to accept flooding from my neighbor because y'all let her build a house with a way to drain the water off of it, and it's 3 feet higher than mine. The only house like it in all of Jefferson Parish, built and allowed to flood its neighbors. Y'all think I'm going to accept it because Amy Velat waves her phone in the air while citing the wrong code. The code department says whatever they want that day of the week. The zoning department targets me. I can tell you now I am never going away, so give it your best shot. So far, I'm not impressed. Also, I would like to ask President Yenny to follow the lead of his parish attorney, who resigned, thankfully, to also resign. And for all of the residents and former residents fighting against the Yenny administration, stay strong. It might seem impossible, but you will achieve justice.